Okay, Rex, so I know that you mentioned that a lot of famous country artists got their start at this festival. So let's talk about some of the history there.
Well, there's so much history. That's why I say you got to get by and check it out. On the back wall, Willie Nelson signed "To My Hero, Bill Monroe," which you got to realize, Willie, Wailing, all these guys, they was teenagers when Bill Monroe was at his height. So they looked up to Mr. Monroe. We have a hill there called Hippie Hill. So this young man hitchhikes from California up to meet Mr. Monroe and try out for his bluegrass band. Well, Monroe wasn't there. So Birch, Bill's brother, said, "You're going to have to come back." And this young man said, "I only have $7 in my pocket. I have nowhere to go." They said, "Well, camp out." So he goes back on the hill and camps. Mr. Monroe comes in 30 days later. And when he comes in 30 days later, they holler up and say, "Mr. Monroe's on the property." So he walks down, he walks into the old barn, he says, "Mr. Monroe, my name's Jerry Garcia, and I want to be a banjo player, a bluegrass boy." So, you've had Jerry Garcia there. 2019, we're all standing out by the old sign. And this Lamborghini pulls in, and we're all wondering, well, who would be driving a Lamborghini in Brown County? Well, this older gray-haired man gets out and walks up to the sign, and Allison Krauts gets out and takes a picture. It was Robert Plant. And we talked to Robert Plant, and Robert Plant said, "This has been on my bucket list." He said, "It should be on everybody's bucket list to see where the music started."
Yeah. So Bean Blossom's kind of really the heart of country music and bluegrass, and
Yes.
really just a foundation. So people listening to this show, that's a really good tie-in to make sure that you understand what life is like in Southern Indiana, because we do have a deep appreciation of not
Yes.
just the songs, but the stories that make the songs. And I'm sure you have a lot more.
Oh, there's just so much more, with Earl Scruggs, Lester Flats being there. Ricky Skaggs, the first place Ricky ever, one of the first, is on that stage at Bill Monroe's. Vince Gill, all these people. We had Billy Strings there in 2018. Now Billy is, if you guys know who Billy Strings is, really gave bluegrass kind of a shot in the arm again.
Right.
So just like Lester Flats and Earl Scruggs did with the Bonnie and Clyde movie.
Yeah.
Because they played that bluegrass music in the Bonnie and Clyde movie. "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?"
Yeah.
Allison played in there. John Hartford played in there. Ralph Stanley, "Oh Death."
Yeah.
That was his song, and it was played in that movie. So bluegrass has been here for so long. It's a mix of blues, gospel, and folk, and Bill Monroe invented, he's the only person to invent a style of music, and that's bluegrass music. And that's why he is the father of bluegrass.
Yeah,
It's not a name that he made up or it was thrown at him. Bluegrass.
It wasn't a marketing attempt.
No, it wasn't.
It was just truly organic.
It was.
Yeah.
And it's the truth on Mr. Monroe.
I love it.
Yeah, you just have to come and walk the grounds that he walked. There's walking trails through there that he used to get up in the morning and walk and play his mandolin. A lot of people will ask, who's the best guitar player? And you got Jimmy Page and,
that's
who
a
else?
Friday night argument. Isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, you can sit there and argue who's the best. Eric Clapton. No, John Lennon was.
I know, right?
Yeah, there's so many you can argue with, but nobody can argue who was the best mandolin player.
Yeah.
And that was Bill Monroe.
Yeah.
Ricky Skaggs, which got to play Bill's mandolin on the Grand Ole Opry. They brung it out and let him play it. He could not even carry Bill Monroe's case onto the stage. That's how good Bill Monroe was. And talking about cases, we have Bill Monroe's original case that he carried that mandolin. It's in the museum, and that's where Mr. Monroe ran over it. Being the old Kentuckian he is, he duct taped it up. And they said, Bill, there's dust getting in there. You're going to have to get a new mandolin case. So he put his old mandolin case, which is on all his records.
Yeah.
And Nashville has inquired about the museum in Nashville, Tennessee, and he put it in the museum, and that's where it will stay.
I love it. Well, thanks so much, Rex, for sharing your stories with us. If you want to get connected to Bean Blossom, Indiana, definitely part of the heart of Southern Indiana, because you're getting to the core of the music and everything that we love to embrace, and you can check that out. And of course, you can find them on their website at billmonroemusicpark.com.